What are you doing up there? Hmm?
All right, good evening, everyone. This will start the deliberations portion of tonight's public hearing for the June 17th, 2021 zoning board. Deliberations are where where the board members will deliberate and make decisions on cases. There is no participation by applicants or by the public. So what we'll do is we'll just go right down in order, starting with case number 2805 807 Bay Street.
Thanks, Matt. So we'll start with Bay Street, guys. So that was the enclosure of the porch. She wants to go back to the enclosure. So let's get just initial thoughts. I'll just say these are all really, for me, the enclosures are all really tough for me because I am like a big fan of like open porches. So I just want to, what are folks' thoughts on this one? It seems like, Corey, your question, it seemed like that it was existing items that were being
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I think to Jim's point too, I couldn't see the sign because I was out there again. I couldn't see the sign because there was so much material on the porch. So just what's folks' thoughts on this one?
I mean that's like sort of a general, safekeeping, housekeeping.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in the yard, coming off the steps of the porch. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. So what are folks' thoughts on this one?
But speaking
Matt,
to that, I'm sorry, I just want to say, speaking to that, I mean, in closing, the bushes cover up a lot of what we saw. But I guess I'm not totally against it because it would be a cleaner look to just enclose and block off some of what we're looking at. And also because the neighboring properties there are several enclosed porches. It's not out of character to me. Yeah. So personally, I would prefer open. I feel like this one works probably better. It's just closing it up.
Matt, you look like you have a stoic thought. Go ahead. What do you think about Bay, Matt?
No, I actually agree. The thought being that, personal preference aside, an enclosed porch does make sense in terms of the safety matter. But also, it, as Cora mentioned, it does kind of fit with the area in the sense that it's not that abnormal to see an enclosed porch. So, I'm not against it.
Yeah, and it seemed like the property was like this for so long, from those pictures from the 80s up into 2010 when she got the lead abatement. And I think David asked her this question. I wish she would have brought those drawings with her that her contractors had done, because I think, for me, I think I'm leaning towards granting, but it'll have to be dependent on the city approving the design of the porch. I don't want to get into the transparent. Matt, do you guys have, porches are legal, but do you guys, so if we threw this back to you, what would you guys, if we granted the applications and depending on a design approved by the city zoning office, what would be your take on the design?
So can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know if it was out again because it wasn't yellow. So what's happened in the past, great question. There was a porch and it was in the 19th ward. I think it was on Marlborough Road. There was an approval on condition that there be transparency from the top of the existing knee wall to the bottom of the header, and then from post to post on either side. So when we talk about porch enclosures, it's a matter of, are you talking about just having her frame in the existing opening, or actually creating walls and smaller windows that makes it more look like an addition off the front of the house? So I think there were actually photographs in the application. Yeah, if you look at the previous, if you look at the house to the left, there's a little more like surface area covered in. So we'll go through the standards, and if it results in being inclined to support it with some level of transparency, yes, what you can do is ensure you'll want to address both sides as well as the front and what you're thinking in terms of transparency. But you've also seen porch enclosures where people have put like tiny little windows and then put like plywood inside it over it. So
Yeah.
it looks more like an addition off the front.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to see like the neighbor with the double hungs. You know, I would like to see some of the larger windows like the existing conditions, just in my opinion. But let's just run through with the benefits outweighing the applicant.
Yeah, so first, standard, the benefits outweigh any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. So the applicant outlined their benefits. So what potential detriments to the community are there based on her benefits? Are there any?
No.
No, and I don't see any detriments to the community. Rolling that into the essential character. I think it's a part. You see many throughout Beechwood, and there were many enclosed porches. The property next to the applicant had an enclosed porch.
He also got a letter in support from the Beechwood Neighborhood Coalition.
Yep.
No other means feasible for the applicant to pursue.
I mean, I guess I just have to say it, although I'm not like married to it. Like I have trouble when people want things that are their own sort of issue. Like she doesn't have to store stuff on the porch. And so, I mean, that doesn't necessarily for me negate the benefits of enclosing it, but I don't think I like to keep stuff on my porch and I want to continue to keep stuff on my porch is really no other remedy as a reason.
Right. So that's a good point. So that's exactly this standard.
That's why Cora was trying to pull out, like,
Yeah.
is it packages? And she wasn't really, she said I think she said storage in her oral testimony.
Yeah.
The another thing that she did mention was that the neighborhood kids essentially playing ding dong ditch and, the stuff that kids do, but there were other matters that affected her desire to have the porch enclosed.
So yeah, obviously there is another remedy. She could
Leave it alone.
she could leave it as it is.
As it's been for 10 years.
Right.
So the other remedy means that there has to be another code compliant feasible means to achieve the same alternative. So it's not enclosing the porch. It would be, he has to have storage somewhere else.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no. So yeah, I guess there's no other remedy.
The requested variance is not substantial. She talks in her standards, I'm just reading from the application, the second page of the statement of difficulty. The significance of this project is to restore my property back to its original state. I think she's referring to as the survey map that she supplied.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I don't think this one is too significant. As I said, it's a part of many of the homes in the Beechwood and properties in the Beechwood neighborhood. It was a part of her property for quite a few decades as well. So it's not a significant, physical and environmental conditions. As she stated, I don't see any negative physical or environmental conditions to grant this variance in the neighborhood or in the district. As I said, it's something that is seen on many of the properties throughout the neighborhood. And I think she also has an opportunity too with the enclosure to make her property and make the enclosure more transparent. She has landscaping that does cover a good portion of the enclosure and the openness already, if it's open or enclosed. And self-created, yes, we know that one is that.
I agree that I like the original design better than the double hung.
The neighbors with the double hungs, yeah.
Me too.
So part of that, I think, and I didn't get this information from her, and we should have, I guess. It looks like she had sliding windows, which allowed her to not enclose more of it, as opposed to the double hungs that you see on the house on the left.
Yeah. I mean, I guess just throwing it, she told us she did have designs. I wish she would have showed us the designs, but I guess, yeah, Matt, to your suggestion, I guess we can just give you that. And you guys can, we'll give you like what we want to see in terms of transparency. And you guys just take it from there since that's all the information we have.
Are you inclined to drill down to the style of window, like sliding versus double hung, or you're more concerned about just having complete transparency from top of knee wall to header, post to post?
I like the sliding personally.
I'm more concerned with the transparency. I don't really care about.
I'm more concerned with
because-
transparency too. I think the sliding may be, the sliding will probably be cheaper for her to do than doing a bunch of double hung windows, but I'm just more concerned with the transparency.
Yeah, me too.
So if she has to put a ton of, I doubt she will put a ton of double hung windows to get the transparency that we're looking for. I mean, that's just not cost efficient for her.
That's what I have in my house.
So, and adding two exterior doors on both ends of the porch. Is that fair? Because it doesn't seem like there was, I mean, do you guys want the door to be transparent, or are you fine with just, what's your thoughts on the doors on both ends?
Doors could be half,
Yeah, like a regular screen.
like a regular screen, and then the regular covering the bottom, so you want people coming by won't look all the way through the porch.
Yeah.
They can just, cover
Matt,
it.
can we drill down to screen doors or no?
Or just leave it, let Matt decide.
Well,
No, I'm just curious.
Well, no, that's a good question. Before we answer that, though, if you look at the picture that it was before,
It looked like a screen.
it actually didn't. It just had the door on that side. It didn't have any windows. Are you looking to have, like, are you okay with that? I mean, to restore it to what this photo looks like, or are you thinking like door and window? I'm talking about on the sides.
All right, I see. I mean,
Wait, what did you say, Matt? It just had door. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
it just has
I
a
see
door
it.
right to the left. There's no window.
Yeah, it looks like a screen door too was there.
yeah, and then the siding. I'm fine with it like that. I don't think it needs another window and the door.
Yeah, I agree with Cora.
Yeah, I'm fine too with that, Matt.
Sides. Okay.
It's a vinyl shortage anyway. She won't find vinyl. So yeah, my preference would be that those exterior exits are screen doors and not doors.
Agreed.
So I'm thinking of like a storm door or.
Yeah, we can, however you want it. Yeah, we can put
Okay.
a storm door.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts on this application?
A storm door that is at least 50% transparent. Is that good?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on this application?
Nope. Someone may make a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant. Does it need to be based on the?
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
conditions.
so you're approving on the conditions that they be on the front elevation, I'll repeat this back, transparency from, the top of the knee wall. Obviously, there's going to be some framing on top of that. To the bottom of the header, again, there might be some framing an inch or two. And then from post to post. And the sides can reflect the previous condition as shown in the photo, and the door would have to have at least 50% windows on either side, door on either side. So that's the motion on condition.
I'll second it.
I will poll in order here. Matt,
Grant,
Jim,
I never thought I'd say this, but
I know. Grant, I know these enclosures, man. I know.
David. David.
Grant,
Oh, I heard you. Thank you.
Did we lose someone?
Cora
Grant.
and
Oh.
Holly.
Grant,
So the motion passes on condition 6-0. Next case tonight is 91 Prince Street. This is the use variance.
So, Matt, quick question, and this is, I know we don't want to bring, but I remember this case. Was it the same situation with the previous owner? They purchased it and didn't know that, like, they didn't know that it wasn't legal as well. I know that doesn't matter, but I was just curious because I
no, you
remember
might be
this
right.
case, and they bought both they purchased both homes as well, the previous owner, and like they bought it and didn't know that they couldn't turn it into a 3-family. I don't know. I thought that was that doesn't matter, but I just thought that was.
No, you might be right though. There was something to it, and I can't remember what it was now. But I mean, the house is obviously gutted, so I think anyone looking at it is probably like, oh my gosh, it's a blank slate.
Yeah, I can put whatever I want in it.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
One thing I have about this is, it's a ton of work that has to be done on this property for us not to have any information on the work that to be completed.
What's that noise?
I hear it too. It's a humming.
What is
Oh, we're being invaded.
I think it's just background with somebody. But no, Matt, I guess, can you kind of like just explain like our purview a bit on this in terms of like.
Absolutely. So what you guys are looking at here is a financial hardship. So what that means is the property is located in like a mid-level or medium density residential district, which allows for, single families, 2 families, as well as like 3 families or more, provided you meet a certain level of criteria, which are called dwelling unit conversion standards. So what that means is the code says, yes, you can increase density, but we want to do it in a way that doesn't overcrowd buildings. It doesn't chop up old buildings into too many units and things like that. So some of the things to consider are the size of the structure, right? So and what it can turn out in terms of rent in the area. So part of the other piece of this is the amount of work that it needs to have. So he's coming to you with almost a vacant property. I think it's pretty reasonable to conclude there's a significant amount of money involved with doing anything with this property, whether it be a single, a 2, or a 3, or a 4, or whatever. So in this case, it does not meet one of those 4 criteria that it has to meet. In this case, it's the lot size. So the code says that to have 3 units, you have to have 9,000 square feet of land area. And this particular property only has 5,400. So your purview would be making the case that, or determining whether or not the applicant has proven that, essentially so much work needs to be done to this property that he needs that additional unit to be able to get the income back, and that there's really no impact on the lot not having the 9,000 square feet. It's not here for any parking variances because it was built with no parking. The code cannot subject you to a variance that you were never had. It's called a pre-existing deficiency. So it's already deficient in parking from when it was constructed. You can't reprove it now, basically. Now, you can say, I'd like you to create a little parking area in the back. And Jim, to your point, I did some calculations going into this, and I think they can do 3 or 4 parking spaces in the back, and they will not exceed lot coverage. I think it was you, Jim, that had asked. So, you could certainly talk about that, but the finances are what's on the table here, and then of course the size of the structure. So,
okay. Hey Jim, why don't you? You've got a little bit more experience. Why don't you kind of walk us through your thoughts on these financials, if you wouldn't mind?
No, I don't mind that at all. I just wanted to clarify the rate of interest and things of that nature. Well, he does say that his profit is going to be 0.78%. I'm closer to 4.5%, based upon the figure that he provided. At the same time, that's not much of a profit when you're in the real estate business. I went over every item that's on here, and I don't have problems with it. I really don't. I think he's been able to prove with these figures that would not be making enough money without going to the 3 unit.
I think I share that thought as well, Jim. Did anybody else have any comment they wanted to add to this one?
I agree. I think to me from the outside, it looks like a 3 unit. It's got the stacked bay windows. You got
it's symmetrical.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
I hate a rooming house. I think it said previously it was a room, it was
Yeah.
rooming and then the
Yeah.
2-family or something, which is the only thing that would make sense.
It was a 3-family before it lost its rights in 08, right?
No, it was, it might have been
Two-family.
years ago, but it was a rooming house. So
It's a
that's
rooming
part of the story that the applicant's,
Oh,
I think,
okay.
trying to tell in the application is that it would create, a 2-unit would create like a 7-bedroom apartment.
No. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why I thought it lost its rights.
Oh, from previous, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it seems like the most feasible option and just safest. And
Was that kind of the character of that neighborhood, Matt, like a long time ago, like a bunch of rooming houses? Oh, I should ask David. I'm sorry, David. Thanks, old timer. We appreciate it. I'm good with this and the financial hardship and the standards that the applicant presented in their application.
Me too.
I'm gonna make a motion to grant.
I'll second it.
We'll poll everyone. Matt,
He's muted.
Sorry, Grant,
okay, thank you. Jim,
Grant.
Tyrese,
Grant,
David,
Grant.
Cora,
Grant,
and Holly.
Grant.
The motion to establish use as a 3-family passes 6-0.
hopefully he doesn't have to come back.
Or another owner.
right.
I mean, that one's tough for him because, he's got to spend some money to do plans, go pull a permit, and then with the material shortage.
Oh, yeah. And the
How long do they
pricing
have
of
on
it-
building permits, Matt? Like, do they have a timetable on building permits?
So he needs to get issued, so he needs to get it issued within a year. Once it's issued, the inspector will work with you on it can't be dragged
Timetable.
out.
Okay, so
Yeah,
he just
correct.
needs to get, okay.
He needs to get, and it's gonna be slow moving with everything going on, but. Next case is case number 4. It is 235 Alexander Street. This is the rear carriage house conversion.
I love this.
I do too. This is gonna be
Cute.
fantastic.
I think there was like a question about why a restaurant, but I think that we have seen more tiny restaurants. If you think just in that area, there's viticulture and Daily Refresher, and it's right in the middle. We have Cat Pint around the corner. I think tiny restaurants are. And for the point of the refuse, the noise, and the traffic, being that it's so small, I think that negates a lot of those issues. So,
Well, and most of those neighboring businesses aren't open at nighttime anyway, when the restaurant would be. Right, probably.
And if you have a restaurant, you don't want to smell a rodent in your business. And I think the amount of time and money they're putting into a really boutique restaurant, they really got to make some money here. I mean, make this thing successful. So I think the owner, who I assume is the owner of Bradford's, is really doing something that's going to be beneficial. And I think it's really going to add a lot of character and benefit to the neighborhood, to a building that has probably been vacant for a very long time. And I think that in terms of the opposition from the neighboring property, I hear them. I have a very different mindset than everything they pretty much stated. I see things very from an urban planning lens, and they're not looking at it from that lens, obviously. So I certainly hear them. I don't agree with pretty much anything they said in the opposition to what that would make me not grant this application. And as Cora has laid out, I think it fits into this district perfectly with the standards that they've presented. And I don't think that the rear and the side setbacks are significant, especially with what they're connected to parking lots. It's parking lots that are adjourned to these properties. Now, I think we would be having a different story if it was a carriage house. That's why when I first read it, I didn't know we were on Alexander. Because we've had carriage houses before. I didn't know if it was in a residential. I knew it wasn't in residential because you couldn't put a bar or a restaurant. So I didn't know precisely where it was. So it's really not near, any living or residential that I think will have a negative impact on this as well. So that's my thought. Did anybody else have any different thoughts?
I'm polar opposite. The letter that was produced by the neighboring property was pretty compelling, in my opinion, particularly because it actually almost identically reflected what the concerns that I had mentioned, and then some. Now I know that we're talking about a couple feet in terms of the location of the building, but just driving back there, stop me, Matt, if I'm overstepping. But
let me say this before you go on. The letter that was submitted from Mr. Gorell, I think was the name. A lot of that content was all vetted through the city planning commission process. So we don't want to relitigate things that were already done. Now, Matt, you can certainly speak against the setback variance, saying it's too close to the property line or what have you. But just so you know, and for the rights of the applicant went through that. And actually, I believe this went to the planning commission 3 times, was held a number of times. They wanted revisions. They were trying to vet out different options for the parking, as well as the specially permitted use. So
we build everything around automobiles. Oh my God, it's terrible. But go ahead. I'm sorry. We shouldn't even be thinking about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry. That just drives me nuts.
But of course, yeah, talk about your concerns about it. But just you'll want to connect it to the setbacks, the physical setbacks of the building to the neighboring property lines.
So I'll actually start in reverse then. In regard to the setbacks, I don't think there are any major issues in terms of the setback. My only concerns, which may not be valid in terms of a denial here, pertain to the size, the parking, all the concerns that were raised in terms of the rodents and the refuse and all of that stuff. I totally agree. But again, if that's not part of the case that we're discussing here, I've got nothing against it then.
Matt, when it opens, I'm gonna take you there for happy hour. You're like, dog, this is great. What was I thinking when I voted against this?
We're gonna walk over there?
Yeah, we're gonna walk. We could bike there too. In the city has scooters too. Come on, man. Trying to take this place into the 21st century.
Excuse me a minute, but where's Lorraine? Did I miss something?
Jim, I think you did.
What did I miss? Is she gone?
I don't know. She's not on the call. So it's the 6 of you voting. We still have a quorum, so.
All right. I thought, oh well.
Sorry about the cat.
So I'll make a motion to grant and to accept the standards in the application.
Anyone else we can do that. I just want to make sure everyone has had a chance to.
Else had comment. I don't know why my video.
Jim or Cora or Holly?
No, I think I've expressed my support. I think it also kind of bridges the gap between what's on Monroe and what's on Alexander, and sort of starting to where viticulture is, like I said, and then sort of closing that gap of businesses. I love it.
So you guys all went out to the site. Behind the carriage house, it's parking lot, right? The next property?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so proximity to the property line, it's not up against a house or something.
Right.
Yeah, I think if it was, we'll be having a different conversation. For
Okay.
sure.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you. All right. So I believe there's a motion.
Anybody second it yet?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and second. And I'm going to go the other direction now. Holly?
Grant.
Cora?
Grant.
David?
Grant.
Tyrese?
Grant.
Jim?
Grant.
And Matt?
Grant.
Oh, Matt, come on. I wanted to be at that happy hour, man. I wanted to be like, man, see,
that was a grumpy Grant.
I didn't have to deny it. So then when I took him there for happy hour, he was like, man, I messed up.
Next case is case number 5. This is 65-67 Thurston Road. There's a kind of a suite of options here. So you guys can obviously talk about it, and then talk about potential alternatives.
Well, just a quick question. I know I can't do anything about the slanted roof, correct? Because he can put the slanted roof on there if he wants to, right? That I just need some clarification on that.
No, that's a good question. Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Shannon.
with any of these variances, you can approve them with conditions that mitigate the impact of, the relief that you're giving. So if there's a reason to, if you decide that, a smaller porch that doesn't replace the former porch, it is acceptable, but it needs to be designed in a way that it kind of mitigates the impact of it not being restored the way it was. You can do that. So I think that's
Okay. I didn't know
acceptable.
if that was fair game or.
Yeah, I think in this case. And honestly, he agreed that he was willing to do
Right,
it. So,
right. He's willing to do it, so let's give him a shot.
no.
So I want to remind folks that toward the end of the conversation, he did mention that he would be amenable to the picture one design, which was the 1-story roof. I think, in my humble opinion, that would be
It's a
acceptable.
cheaper one, man.
Yeah.
You're talking about the first one from the letter from the 19th Ward Community Association?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Well, he did provide evidence that there seemed to be a fair amount of those.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I would just ask that maybe the width of the porch go right into the start of that, into the, what is it called? The
bay window, straight
the bay
over the
window.
bay. Yeah.
I mean, and that the roof is just, it's not a slanted roof.
You're talking about the A-frame roof that's in the picture.
Yeah, that he would restore it to an A-frame roof or to match. I mean, we can reference the pictures and the.
Yeah, you can reference that picture.
Yeah,
the first one.
That's all I would ask. I'm not, I get it. If he doesn't want to do a second floor, but I do think enlarging the porch a bit to the bay window will allow for both tenants to utilize the porch. I mean, as it is now, you can't utilize it. I mean, it's basically just a step up to go into your unit. So that'll allow both tenants to use it. I get it, sort of. I know how insurance works too, so I
almost don't even see the bay windows when the other porch was on.
Right, and that was his point. Yeah,
Right.
I certainly makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's an improvement, actually. An unfortunate way that we landed here, but.
Yeah.
So I would, I would love to see a 2-story, but if that's what the board will approve, I just want to do. I would honestly push for a 2-story open porch that extends to the start of the bay windows. But if the board isn't going to approve that, I'll just, if you guys want to do 1-story with that condition is more of an appetite for all of you. I mean, I'm more of an appetite to require.
I'm just going to pull this photo up. I'm sharing my screen here. We're talking about this photo here. Right?
Yeah.
Including the double hung window above.
The double hung window, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Tyrese. I think that the 2-level porch is more in keeping with the neighborhood, but I'm okay.
And it brings the home sort of back to how it was.
Yeah.
I like that one also, but if he's willing to, and 19 Ward is
Hold
okay.
on, we got 3 votes here. I just need one more. Hold on, I got 3 votes maybe. Jim, I know these other 2 were there. Jim, what you think, Jim? I got 3 votes here. I need one more, Jim.
I don't like the double porch look. It's just, to me, it looks kind of shabby. I like the single.
I gotta bring you guys to the 19th Ward. We've got so much character over here.
I come back to the 19th Ward, and there was nothing for me there. It's way too competitive in the 19th Ward, so or I'd be there.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
So yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so we're talking about the 1-story, changing the roof line to match that picture over to the bay window, and then reinstalling a window above the
a double hung window above
a double hung window
above the A-frame roof.
Got it.
Yep.
You got that one, Matt. You got that one, man. Thought I could get a 4th vote somewhere.
It's not so easy to slide money under the table if we're not in person.
All right, so if someone want to make a motion, I have the approved on condition that the roof line be reflected to mirror the first image that is in the 19th Ward letter. So it's more of an A-frame style roof, and it goes all the way over to the bay window, and then replace the double hung window on the second floor.
Maybe we can have a happy medium. Can we have a happy medium where we just leave it as an option where he can do the single or the double? If he wants to do the double, then so be it.
I think he doesn't, otherwise he.
He said he preferred.
Or he
But I
would
see
have
what you're
did.
saying. But I see what you're saying, Matt. Yeah.
Maybe he's watching and Tyrese swayed him.
Maybe even with the approval of the single story, he will be so inclined to do the 2-story after this conversation.
I want to make landlords do a lot that they don't want to do. So
All right, so I have the motion for the single story with the changed roof line and the window.
was there a motion or is there looking for a second?
I'm sorry, I have the condition. Is there a motion?
I'll motion with the condition that was discussed.
Okay,
I'll second.
And a second. Okay, Matt,
Grant,
Jim,
Grant,
Tyrese,
Grant.
David,
Grant.
Cora,
Grant.
and Holly.
Grant.
All right, so the motion on condition passes 6-0.
Yeah, and Matt, I've tried to John's email, John Lombard's, I tried to just ask the question and get those folks on the record, just if we ever had that before. So hopefully that was okay, just asking them about the notices.
I don't follow that. Say that again.
The notices that were posted at the 3 properties.
Oh,
hopefully
yes,
during
yes,
that
yes,
was
yes.
fine.
Yep.
You know what? So you were satisfied with each of those, that there had been,
I was fine. I didn't want to go
notice.
down.
It was a
I just
minor.
think for
yeah,
the
it didn't
future,
go
we
down.
can improve the process. I just think
Yeah.
I didn't want to hold anything up tonight, because
Yeah,
then
I
we would
know.
have 12 cases next month.
Still gonna have that. I'm just kidding. All right, case number 6 is Central Park, 214 Central Park.
I love this.
This is a great
What's-
building.
Yeah. I mean, originally I was concerned about the size, but I think their explanations and the drawings and what they're doing, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so this, they provided some good testimony about the configuration of the building, so
Yeah.
that kind of speaks to the dwelling unit size. And then also the not being able to get more land area because they can't combine it with 37 Niagara, they wouldn't need that. Any other thoughts on this, or the standards were pretty well addressed by the applicant?
I think
Yeah, they were very addressed. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's a
agreed.
prominent
Kinda
corner.
I shouldn't be jealous, but this is a great building. This building is a great building.
Yes, it is. Wait till you guys see the next one.
All right.
The next
I'm thinking
one
of time,
you're
Mr. Khan.
refraining from, huh?
David, I guess I gotta be homeless living this stuff, David. Come on, man.
No, you'll be shocked. You're gonna be totally surprised.
You gotta bring some market rate stuff, man, in some of
It's
these
coming,
low
it's
wealth
coming.
neighborhoods, man. That's the only way we're gonna get these incomes up. Can't keep putting affordable everywhere, David.
Hopefully you see it on that next meeting.
Okay,
Not next
okay.
one, next couple meetings. You'll see it.
So-
It's coming.
So I'll make a motion to grant and to accept the standards in the application.
Second it.
Motion and seconded. I will start this time with Holly,
Grant.
Cora, David.
I can't vote on
All right.
it. I can't vote on
Sorry
it.
about that, I'm sorry. Tyrese,
Grant.
Jim,
Grant,
and Matt.
Grant,
That motion passes 5-0. And the last case is 29-31 Ontario Street. This is a similar situation to the last one in that it's conversion of non-residential floor area to residential. And actually, there was a public comment from the last case that spoke a little bit about, I think, what the intent of the conversion was to prevent the breaking up and overcrowding of residential structures. But of course, it also applies here to non-residential. So this is not meeting, again, the lot size. So to create 3 units, it would be 9,000 square feet would be required. And the proposal does not have that. It has 3,240. So thoughts on this project? Looks like they're also proposing some exterior changes based on the drawings.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it makes
And I don't
sense.
think anybody had any questions.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, taking a vacant area and putting it into use.
Yeah.
Yep.
Clearly an improvement over what's there.
Oh, yeah.
Any other thoughts on this or concerns?
None whatsoever.
I'll make a motion to grant to accept the standards in the application.
I'll second.
All right, and Matt,
Grant,
Jim,
Grant,
Tyrese,
Grant.
David,
Grant,
Cora,
Grant,
and Holly.
Grant.
All right, so the motion passes 6-0 for 2931 Ontario Street. And that is all of the cases this evening. Thank you, everyone.
So as early as next month, we'll be back in person.
I believe next month is still Zoom,
Okay.
but stay tuned.
Okay. Cool. See you
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Have a great evening.
Tyrese, you don't want to read that lovely